random thoughts. I'm just jogging these down, and I might just splice them together in a video, and it'll be a random ass video. But the next topic I was thinking of was censorship in my YouTube and Facebook. Technically, I'm not being censored. I'm being retarded. So people are watching my stuff, and they do see my stuff, and they do, so that's technically not really being, well, I mean, the definition of censorship, it's kind of a interesting area. Well, like I said, I think technically I'm not really being censored, but my videos and posts are retarded, and some of that is because of OPSEC and other training purposes, like leadership and how I perceive the different leaders in my life, past, present, and future. Do I gauge different leaders that I look up to as role models or inspirational differently based on their job titles held and different areas of expertise? And I think that honestly, I pull from everywhere. I look up to a lot of different people in the community, and not just military community, civilian community, and I pull a lot of inspiration from everywhere. So have you ever heard of the Anti-Hero podcast? Apparently they're going through a lot of drama and whatnot, and there's a lot of people that have different takes on it. I have heard of the name before, and I've briefly seen some of the stuff, and I've seen some of the the clickbait stuff, anyways, interesting. I think it's interesting when you see a group of people that work together and something drama happens or traumatic that doesn't necessarily look good. It's very interesting to me to see how people pull the ripcord or cut and run and are quick to cut ties and abandon ship. And I don't know if that's actually the case or if it's just more clickbait on their part to try and draw viewers in. But it's interesting to me because that stuff actually does happen. People hear, like, for example, some of the PSYOP stuff that I've talked about in the past, as soon as you mention certain things like Chris Hansen girls or whatever, people clear the room quickly, or anything that doesn't look good. People are like, that's not good for my image, I'm gone, like, I don't fucking know you. Anyways, I was going to say about the Anti-Hero podcast, from what I did hear, and a lot of it's hearsay, blah 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 blah, but it's a good example of, I guess, the name itself, Anti-Hero. They're, an anti-hero is not necessarily a hero or a villain. They're kind of right in the middle. They're likable and they're unlikable for different reasons. Like Venom, for example, is technically an anti-hero. He's not. It's up for debate on that one, but he's not necessarily like a good, upstanding guy like Captain America or Superman or stuff like that, right? He's technically more of an anti-hero. So it'd be a good opportunity for their podcasts and whoever's all is involved, and they might be just pulling the plug on it, honestly, but I thought it was interesting as, like, okay, well, now this will make or break you and how you proceed to address this, right? Are you just going to address it and grow from it and see who your real subscribers are, or are you just going to give up? I mean, like I said, I like these stories that come out, and you kind of see, and you can really learn a lot about people's true character. Another topic, interesting topic I would like to talk about later is the whole obsession with modern day gaming and avatars, and if I perceive myself as a playable character, no, but you've seen the movie Gamer with Gerard Butler. But anyways, with the kids these days, and the you know, Fortnite, Call of Duty, you've got these shops where you can buy different merchandise and different characters, and there's so much access to all these different characters and different packages you can buy, and it's like, always, I want that new one, right there, and oh, this one, and like, I don't want the generic default characters, they're so like boring or whatever, blah 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 blah. So I'm kind of curious the psychology of all that at a later date in time. But me being as a gamer, I guess, myself, like, I can kind of see how, you know, it's relatable to just life in general and being a human and being a person. Like, as we get older, we feel irrelevant as, for example, warfighters, soldiers. All the technology, all the research, all the data from 20 plus years of service in the military, right? For the last 20 something years. All that is getting poured into the new next generation troop, soldier, special operations, everybody from the average Joe to all the way up to the top, and you have this tendency, and I'm guessing this is kind of what the Vietnam and Desert Storm guys felt like, where it's like, on to the next one, and check out what we're doing with our soldiers nowadays, and you feel passed up, right? If you could feel passed up, and like, you're not relevant, you're irrelevant now. But then on the flip side, I've also noticed a push to also, you know, continue bettering veterans as well. A lot of work has been done since Vietnam, I believe, in my own personal opinion. I wasn't in Vietnam, obviously, but from what I've heard, you know, after the military and all that stuff, all the networks and programs we have available as a veteran nowadays didn't exist in Vietnam, and we owe that to those older guys. So nothing but respect for the older generations, and the psychology of how I view or perceive what you're doing on YouTube or Facebook. The psychology of how I perceive what you are doing or trying to do. And for all intents and purposes, you're trying to make content and share your stories as well. But psychological triangulation, psychological operations, and triangulating the different truths, right? There are, at least I try and look at it in 3 different ways: subliminal messages and inception tactics that can be used in psychological operations, and not exclusive to official, you know, anyone can do it. And then in the middle would be it's none of that. It's none of that going on. It's just content creator, viewer. And then on the other version is it's true and or it's not true. Wait, what was it? Oh, the other version would be, I want that to be a thing. I want you to be sending me psychological or subliminal messages. It's what I'm looking for, right? So there's the version where you're actually doing it. You're actually doing it, and you're actually trying to be suggestive to your viewers, not just me. And you want them to kind of read into things. And then there's the version where, nope, it's none of that. It's content creator and viewer interacting on different levels, just enjoying the show and enjoying making the show. And then the other version is, I want that to be a thing. I want you to be sending me psychological or inception tactics, or I'm sorry, subliminal messages and all this stuff, right? That's what I'm actually looking for. That, like, what is he trying to tell me? You know what I mean? And it's very dangerous. And this is the psychology part of it, where I it's hard to raise awareness about, but it's not. I mean, they make books on this stuff, and it's a very real thing. When we think about, like, the people that go off the deep end, and they start getting really far one way or the other, and then they start acting on these things, these thoughts, or these different things, right? So those are the different versions. There's the versions where someone is sending or attempting to send, nothing's happening at all except for whatever, and then someone's looking for that, and then they, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I also need to start doing some crunches again, getting more chubby. Winter's coming, and I don't want to pack on more weight. So more push-ups, more crunches, more walking, diet. And I don't want to do like the other influencers and start juicing and all the supplement stuff. I just don't think it'll be good. So the leaders in my life, from the very beginning, from before the military all the way up until, the military and after the military, the leadership I've had, some of the best leaders I've had were actually in just a basic infantry unit. Some of the best leaders I've ever had, hands down. Also a couple of some of the worst, but and then the people we look up to on social media or on the news, right? They can be leaders. They can be examples of how to lead your life and how you want to model yourself or strive to be like similar, right? You see all these different people, and it's not just military, it's civilian stuff too. So I think it's an interesting topic I wanted to portray, because I have talked about it, all the people I look up to in my life, and so a lot of the stuff I do sometimes can be jesting and comical for like comedic relief stuff, but it's very true. Like, I do look up to a lot of these guys and gals over the years, in real life, everyday life interactions, all the way to, like I said, influences in Hollywood or social media. So I guess to answer the actual original question is how I perceive the different types of leaders. I think they're all unique and different in different ways, and I try and diversify the people I look up to as leaders, right? Because as much as I want to say that I am at a level where I don't need to look up to anybody, it's not necessarily true. I always look to, someone that's doing better at something, but more importantly, like people that have lived longer than me, elders, and seeing them around can really just be motivational. I mean, like, this dude or this lady has been through some stuff, right? And they're still here, so I can still be here, right? So if they can do it, I can do it. This video is gonna kind of be like a brief glimpse inside the mind of ADHD and different thoughts. So I've had a lot of concussions and TBIs over the course of my life, in the military and outside of the military. So I am trying to document that as I get older. You see a lot of boxers and MMA fighters, and they get hit in the head a lot, or football players, right? And not all of them develop symptoms or CTE, but some of them do. And I'm wondering, some part of me is wondering, like, how technology plays a role in all this too. Like, Man, that's another topic I wanted to think of, though, is cell phone technology and wireless signals and signal intel groups, and how they can I mean, is it possible to imprint onto your psychology, right? Your own central nervous system. Our body is made up of electrical system, right? The central nervous system. So can wireless technology hack that somehow? Especially with integrated devices to help with that stuff. Think about that. And who's at fault when things go wrong, right? You start short-circuiting, and who's at fault? Is it the person, me, or is it the people behind manipulating it, monitoring it, managing it, or is it the people, implementing a potential attack, right? Like a cyber attack on a signal intel group that's fully capable. Oh, but anyways, we're documenting my struggles with traumatic brain injuries, which I haven't had a concussion in a long time, thank God, and I'm kind of nervous about the next one. I might get full-on HD vision. We're 24/7. What was I gonna say? Wait, no. Documenting CTEs and stuff. I don't have CTE that I'm aware of, but I'm curious if it's going to develop into that later, and I'm scared a little bit. Concussions, you can always tell the guys that got hit in the head a lot versus the guys that didn't get hit in the head a lot. Some of them are so smart. It's like, how are you so smart still? Again, not everyone gets hit in the head, just because you're maybe they're just really good at not getting hit in the head. That makes sense. So you wear your helmets. Helmets will help. And then I get sometimes they're like, well, you're too pretty to been hit in the head too many times, and I'm like, I have scars to prove it. And like I said, wear a helmet, it'll help. So I watched a video earlier, and it was very motivational. I really actually enjoyed the story, and it really registers, and especially timing. Like at the time this person was going through a lot of stuff, 2013, I was also going through a lot of stuff, and then 2019 and all that stuff. But the one thing that stuck with me after, like I said, it's an awesome story, very motivational, but it's something about like, oh, I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm not gonna change who I am. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm the same person on Sunday that I was on Tuesday, or something like that. Like, well, not everyone's so special, dude. Like, not everyone's as legit like me and you. So how the fuck, it's supposed to be like a response to other people and all getting ready for talking on video or YouTube or something. Diabolical behavior or dialectical behavioral therapy. Diabolical behavioral therapy. One of the slides they showed in class was is the emotional mind and the wise mind. The emotional mind and the wise mind that combine together to make the rational. No, it's the rational mind and the emotional mind that combine to make the wise mind. So a lot of it has to do like psychological triangulation within yourself when you're perceiving others' actions or your world, your reality, your world around you. I call it psychological triangulation. You have to analyze everything and then pinpoint exactly. You have to really know and be grounded, and it's hard to do. But that's why I always try to look at three different contradicting versions, realities, and they all could be very true realities. They're all each reality could be very true on some level, and that's when it gets really weird. So I got another idea for a movie, and it's kind of like symbiotic relationships go, where it's like, no, that's Venom. Hold on. Okay, so think of me as a playable character, and I'm like a playable character in a reality world, and it's gamers can tune in and control me, right? And that's actually the movie Gamer with Gerard Butler. Hold on. The other one, hold on, wait, it's yeah. Okay, another idea for a movie, sci-fi movie or book would be like avatars. We can grow them in labs, and other people can link in and tune into them, right? And they're kind of like quadriplegics or paraplegics. Quadriplegics would make more sense, because linking two movable bodies is very dangerous if you think about that. Now, if you can link a quadriplegic with the Avatar, that's actually Avatar. That's the premise to Avatar. Hold on. I think I watched too many movies.